All right, what's up? What's up, everybody? It's Saturday. That means it's time for the half hour of horror. Me, Aaron McLean, my co-host as usual. Oh, hey, it's Chase, and special guest today, Jenna Harris, the craft witch herself. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me. And yeah, Chase is wearing my shirt. Aaron, you probably didn't pack it. But
I am in Boston, living out of a hotel suitcase. So unfortunately, I forgot, and I do feel like now it's like, man, I should have packed that. But Chase is representing. It's a great shirt. Every time I wear it, people are like, "Oh
Love it.
yeah, shining pattern, freaking awesome." Yeah, we threatened to make this episode where like we're going to talk about all the Conjuring movies, and you said you wanted to be on, so we are happy to have you back, and we're going to talk about one of the longest running current horror franchises.
I heard it's also the highest grossing, like
Yeah,
compared to Halloween. Yeah. So
like $2.6 billion made at the box office. Like
it's
on all the
insane.
films. It's wild.
I know, it's like mind-blowing.
that, that
How? Because Halloween has been going on way longer.
well,
So it very, very impressive.
that is wildly
Very.
impressive. I mean, it's got the backing of Warner Brothers, and I think every time they release one of these, they do a really crazy marketing job. Like, you know, I see very few trailers, but I saw the one for the one that just came out, the Last Rites. So I think it is doing whatever their marketing is they're doing it right. So yes, it is the MCU of horror, as El Inca says. I think that's
Yeah.
very apt. I watched a whole bunch of these, and I actually watched them in order, like chronological order. So I started with the Nun, and then Annabelle Creation, the Nun 2, working my way up through. And I saw almost everything. I haven't seen the most recent, and I didn't see La Lorena, but yeah, I'm steeped in the lore, and now it's all blending together into one big demonic fighting mush.
Yeah, and I of course have my DVDs as usual. Not a stack, but I like going to Walmart every year around Halloween, and they have these cool little glow in the
Oh,
dark
cool.
covers. So I have the original 3 Conjuring films.
Ooh,
Of course, not
That's
the
so
latest one
cool.
because it's still in theaters, and then the 3 Annabelle movies and the first Nun movie, which I don't own the second Nun, so
hmm.
I need to get on
Oh,
that.
we got to get you that one. Got to complete it.
uh,
I also watched it all in chronological order just recently, and it's cool to see it all kind of flow together.
it's also interesting because I can't tell you at what point they said, "Hey, we need to do these spin-offs." Because in the first film, it starts with this lecture when we first meet the Warrens. We start with this lecture, and they're talking about this exorcism they did on this guy. Um, and he is a character that then becomes a character in the Nun movies. And you're like, when did
Yeah,
you decide that that was going to be the character? Because it feels so seamless. You're like, whoa. Once you watch them in order, it really does tie together in such a wild way. He in the Nun movies, he plays this character named Frenchie, and he has a normal name, but that's his nickname. Um, and he's possessed by the nun and encounters all this Velik, the demon. Which really, let's put it this way: the Conjuring films are not about the Warrens. It's about Velik, the demon, just really traveling through time and fighting anybody who's related to Saint Lucy. That's what the Conjuring universe is about.
Yeah.
yep. She's
Um,
the big bad.
what is your draw to this, Jenna? Why did you say I gotta do a Conjuring episode? Is this your favorite franchise? What about this series just rocks for you?
My favorite movie ever, I would say, if I had to put one, is The Conjuring. And it just scares the shit out of me, honestly. And every time I watch it, still hair raises on my arms. Like I know what's coming, but it just still just chills me to the bone. And I feel almost the same way about The Exorcist. I can't really watch it anymore. It just is too real to me. But that's just my beliefs or whatever. But Yeah, The Conjuring, it just is some, and I love to watch it though. Like it scares me so bad, but I love it. So then watching the other ones, they're all pretty good, but to me, The Conjuring, like The Conjuring is the best.
It's really good. It's a really good
Yeah.
horror movie. It even with the amount of sequels that have come out, it is still the best of all the sequels. And that says a lot about staying power. It also says a lot about like franchise and how you sort of try and continue a story. But the first one is so good. It has so many good actors in it. The clap, the clap jump scare is one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my life. And
It's
just
actually featured in the Blu-ray cover.
Oh,
rocked, rocked me. That about knocked me
nightmare
out of my
fuel.
chair. Yeah, about fell out of my chair when that first happened. It was incredible.
Yeah, that whole scene. Well, it continues through the movie, and you know it's something there. It's not an actual kid, and it's freaky.
Yeah, and they do it a couple times. The clap from the wardrobe, and then, but that one just behind her, just
Ugh.
Just you got pitch black. The only thing you can see is Lily Taylor's face lit up by a
Ooh.
dimly lit match, and then just next thing you know, it's so sudden. It honestly just kind of shows the kind of horror genius of James Wan. Just that he knows how to build dread, he knows how to build suspense. I think the problem with a lot of horror movies is they just want to do jump scare, jump scare, jump scare. Where James Wan does a lot of jump scares, but he knows how to build to it and how to have you on the edge of your seat waiting for it. And when it finally happens, you're like, oh shit! Like
It still gets you.
a big part of it is like when you make a movie, you're not necessarily filming in the order that it's edited in. So the hardest part about building that kind of tension is having the foresight to know how you're going to cut it together. And a lot of times, I think, like you said, directors can only capture what's in the moment of that take, which is that's what a jump scare is. You know, I'm filming it, something jumps at the camera. That's scary. Yes, it can be. But when you are putting it together where she's looking down the stairs, looking into the darkness, she's expecting something to be at the bottom of the stairs. They've already established that what the clapping means and how it's a hide and seek, but with clapping, echolocation style. You're expecting it somewhere, and defying those expectations is what builds that tension, and it's so good. And like you said, I think a lot of people don't know how to put that together in building or crafting a scare. And it's like, yes, jump scares require timing and
Absolutely.
building that tension, setting those expectations, and then defying those expectations. And it's a masterful skill if you got it. The first Conjuring is fantastic, and I really, really do give it a lot of credit for the how creepy it is, the dead little boy in the music box. Also, if you have a creepy looking Tim Burton music box, that thing's obviously haunted. Get rid of that right away. I mean, come on.
If they make it, Chase is gonna buy it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, this unfortunately came out before the popcorn bucket craze. That would have absolutely been the popcorn bucket. The merry-go-round, popcorn goes inside, lid on top.
Unlike the unfortunate Conjuring Last Rites popcorn bucket, which I don't know if you've seen it, where it's the Annabelle doll, but the hole for the popcorn bucket is literally on Annabelle's ass. It's poorly designed. I don't know, Aaron, if you could pull up a picture of it, but
All right.
I need to see this.
It's now, Jenna, did you see this one in theaters or like did you wait for it to come to home? Because this again came out.
No, it's still in
2013.
theaters. So,
Okay.
or sorry, do you mean The Conjuring or the newest one?
The first one. The first one.
Oh, I saw that one in theaters, I believe, and
Okay.
that was back 2013. So
2013.
going to the movies wasn't so bad as it was now.
Right.
It really was the experience that you should be getting. But yeah, I was just watching like this, like, oh my gosh, what is happening? This is so scary. And I haven't seen a movie that scared me that bad in a long time.
Right. And it's the same thing with, oh, here we go.
Yeah, I don't need to be eating popcorn. I don't need that.
Who made that?
This one's
Probably
a little bit better.
Oh,
Like
that's better.
that's better.
Jenna-
That's more
Jenna-
acceptable.
Jenny, you asked who made that. Probably the same dude who designed the Dune popcorn bucket that came out for Dune 2 last
Oh,
year.
I didn't see that one either.
Oh god.
I'm
now we're gonna
worried.
pull it out?
I'm worried that this is going to be bad. This could. Yeah. No.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No. Okay. I can't.
No
you
comment.
You never know what's going to happen if you start scrolling through a Google search on the images and just like, okay. So yeah, that was dangerous, you guys. We were skating on the edge. YouTube's going to kick us off. Show too much.
We could have gotten kicked off YouTube right there, but
Yeah. I will definitely not be searching for the Deadpool popcorn bucket because that was just asking for it.
yeah.
Yeah. Remember when our popcorn buckets weren't suggestive? They were just fun. Just popcorn.
But yeah, I'm like you, Jenna. I did see this one in theaters too, back in 2013. And it's funny because, like you said, like really the whole theatrical experience was way different back then. And I always say, but it goes back to what you say, how theatrical experiences are different now. Because I think one of the best horror movie theater experiences I've ever had was the original Conjuring, and one of the worst ones I've ever had was The Nun 2, because that one was filled with a bunch of routines on TikTok. But
I believe you.
This is the first time I ever watched The Nun and The Nun 2, and the lore was great. I will give them the lore. The first one, there were parts that I really enjoyed. It is way too dark. Like my TV, I'm in a hotel room, so you can't control the settings. So it was just like inky blackness the whole time. And I was very disappointed in that. But like the nun's scary. She's got those yellow eyes and the creepy teeth. Some good lore going on. I love creepy relics, Indiana Jones stuff, where it's like, we got this cool vial. It's got the blood of Christ in here, and we're going to kill demons with it. And you're like, yeah. And all the ghost stuff that was happening, I thought there was some great stuff. The second one took way too long to get to the cool stuff, but what it progressed and what it added with like the eyes of St. Lucy, which if y'all aren't up on the martyrs and their crazy deaths, that's scary enough right there. The paintings of like all these saints who are like get their eyes pulled out and their intestines like bleh, it's real gross. But St. Lucy had her eyes plucked out when she couldn't be burned at the stake. Real gnarly. But that's a whole like plot point. And then you find out that the nun, the good nun in this movie is related somehow to Lorraine Warren of the future Conjuring movies. But it sets up Velik the demon for our later showdowns. But the problem is if you watch them in order, it makes the Conjuring 2 make no sense because you're like, wait, that nun's back? Oh no, she's really bad. And then it's like, nah, she's not. Don't even worry about her. And you're like, wait, what? You have led me to believe that she's really bad. And they're like, yeah, you watched it out of order. That's your problem, fam.
It's true.
How do you guys feel about the nun? Yeah, what's your go?
I was actually going to ask because this seems to be one of the most divisive of the Conjuring franchises. I've heard some people say it's the worst. I've heard some people say it's their favorite. For me, I'm not that big of a fan of either of the Nun films. I think the Nun as a character or Valak is a great character. Love the design. The actress that plays the Nun, Bonnie Aarons, I think she's phenomenal.
Yeah,
but I think a lot of the film, it takes too long to kind of get to that point. And that's kind of where it kind of falls off for me, where like you have something like the Conjurings 1 and 2, which are very strong, very solid films. And you get like the Nun. It's like, oh, this is kind of boring, like for most of it, except for the last act.
The build is very slow. I have to agree with you on that. I do like the aesthetic. It is really
Yeah.
dark. I have to agree though. Even my TV, I'm like, what are we looking at? But but I kind of like that old creepy churchy feel, and um I'm not super religious either, so it's kind of interesting to get all the lore on that. But
It
I like that. I can see why people don't like it because it is kind of boring, but I think the backstory is pretty important too, and they do it a decent job.
they do a decent job. I also like that it sets up a lot of how the in the later films the Warrens are the only secular people recognized by the Catholic Church to do demonology and demon hunting. So this kind of sets up that mythology. And I like period pieces. I'm always down for that. And the World War II bombing this monastery or convent as it is, breaks the seal and releases the demon. That's fun stuff. But it does set up this just big bad that never, unfortunately, never gets resolved. Is Velik in any of the late? Is she in the new one, the nun? Spoiler alert. Jason's like, I don't want to say. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we need a true final showdown there. They never got their final showdown in Conjuring 2. It's like, oh no, the nun's back, and then it was like, nah, don't worry about her. She'll be all right. Then I watched Annabelle. I watched Annabelle Creation because that was the order. Which again, I might have been messing myself up here because a lot of these I had never seen before. I had never seen any of the Annabelle movies except the first one, which I saw in theater. And Annabelle Creation, pretty solid. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it.
Which
I
funny
liked that
story.
one. Oh.
Yeah, that was my favorite out of the Annabelle. Which funny story. Of course, we all know how the Annabelle doll looks in the film.
Yeah.
Like this, where if you look up the real Annabelle from the real case, it looks more like this.
Oh, it is that. Yeah. Raggedy
is,
Ann.
yeah.
I love that you have a Raggedy Ann. Is that because of Annabelle or just because kitsch collecting is awesome? My kid has an Annabelle doll, a Raggedy Ann doll, but again, that's from my generation's childhood and before, everybody had one of those Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls, which they're creepy. Little scarecrow kids. Speaking of scarecrows, Annabelle Creation has a really cool scarecrow scene in it, which I still don't know why it's there other than creepy and cool, but I'm like, yeah, scarecrows are scary. I liked it.
That one was freaky.
Yeah, Annabelle Creation, I feel like is a really solid film because it tells a really good story, has really well acted characters, like a lot of these films do. I think also it was kind of a big surprise because we're going to get to it later because I know we're kind of reviewing it in chronological order, but the first Annabelle movie that came out in 2014 is actually my least favorite out of the bunch
of the whole franchise
of the entire franchise. I feel like it's pretty bad. I mean, me and Izzy's in the chat right now because Izzy is a self-admitted Conjuring fanboy, and he's like, oh yeah, he's told me before several times, I love the first Annabelle movie. They re-released it in theaters this spring, and he said he had went to go see it, and he had texted me, he's like, yeah dude, he was like, that was pretty bad. So when Annabelle Creation came out, I was like, it's just going to be another, but no, solid story. I love kind of the kind of lore of it about this couple that owns is it a foster home or an orphanage?
I think it's kind of foster home. Yeah, a little bit of both.
Who takes in the group of young girls. Turns out their daughter was killed in an automobile accident, and now this demon that's kind of posing itself as the daughter kind of made her way into the home to kind of take advantage of their grief and is now kind of taking over their home and now trying to possess one of the little girls to have a vessel to inhabit.
Got to get
So
the
I
soul.
I
Yeah.
really loved that and it ends bleak. It's a very bleak ending, which I respected the hell out of.
It,
Uh,
yeah.
you
It
don't get
was.
a lot of that.
Well, a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
these movies have bizarrely happy endings in a way where
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, the Warrens are heroes and we beat the demon, hooray. But it's like Annabelle is like, nah, see you in the sequel, sucker. And you're like, whoa, freaking out. Um, a lot of times horror movies ask you to believe something, a big jump. Whether it's logic or like, yeah, the killer's an undead zombie or magic, whatever it is. That's to me, that is the difference between horror and say a thriller, where the thriller is grounded. In a thriller, the police will solve the case. In a horror movie, the police have no clue, and the kids have to solve the case, and they have to fight an undead demon monster, and the authority figures will not help you whatsoever. Annabelle Creation has this like moment where I'm just like, all right, if I'm here, I have to buy it. Your kid died. You have a demonic possessed doll hiding in a crawl space. Let's just invite a bunch of young girls to your house. Let's just bring them all in. Even though your wife is like sick and injured, she's missing an eye and she's like hiding in her bedroom the whole time. Just bring them in, all 12 of these kids. Let's come on.
Just throw the doll in a closet with some Bible verses taped on the
All
wall.
we got to do.
Shit will
We'll
be
be
cool.
fine.
What I wanted and what would have been made it just made it a little bit better is if you found out that Annabelle was like begging the father, like, I need friends, you gotta help me, and he was kind of like pressured into doing this by the demon and thinking it would like help the ghost of his child or whatever. I think there was a way to merge that together, but the way, like, when I'm watching this movie, you see the beginning with the creepiness and the doll and the family and they're grieving, and then the ghost comes out and the demon appears and you're like, oh, that's real bad. And then all of a sudden, like, time jump, welcome home, girls, and you're like, wait, that's a bad idea. Like, that's objectively a terrible idea. Who thought this was a good idea? I don't think anybody in this house, I don't think the father thinks it's a good idea. I don't think the injured mother thinks it's a good idea. The only people who think this is a good idea is the demon in the closet. She's not saying much. So yeah, it was weird, but I was along for the ride, so I believed it, and it was a treat. It was good. I like it when a movie can menace children. This sounds terrible, but when a horror movie can menace children in a way that still is a fun movie and not upsetting to me as a parent, yeah, good on you. You did it. That's good horror movie fodder for me.
Kids are always creepy, so it really just adds to it for sure. But yeah, this is out of all the Annabelle movies, the best one, I think.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah.
We'll get to some meddling kids. Annabelle Comes Home is full of meddling kids. Yeah, we'll get there. Which one comes after Annabelle 2? Is it
The Nun 2.
The Nun 2? Yeah, we kind of talked about it. This one, though it introduced cool lore, was a little bit slower, but had a pretty cool ending. I'll give them the finale. That was cool.
Yeah, I'll give it that too. The finale was really cool. But
Wait.
other than that,
it's all blending together now. Which one does she spit the blood? The first one, she spits the blood in her face. The second one, they turn the wine into blood and it comes pouring out of the barrels.
I think.
Am I right?
I think so.
Oh my gosh.
The second one, I just love that they're like, we got all these barrels of wine. However, are we going to have, like, to kill the nun? You have to like get sacred blood on them, and that's hard to do when your magical vessel of Jesus blood is empty. And so they bless the wine that's spilling out of these barrels, and it explodes all over the nun, and you're like, yeah. And then you're you know, the classic joke of, man, like, this guy must have been wasted the whole time. His blood alcohol levels through the roof. That's after the credit roll. We just see the nun and her nun friend just like all soused up after killing the demons. So much blood. And then Are we on to The Conjuring? Is that the one that comes after Nun 2? I took
Annabelle.
a picture of this.
Annabelle
The
is the
first Annabelle. I actually got it pulled up right here. So the next one is the original Annabelle that came out in 2014.
Yeah, here we go. Takes place in 1967.
The actress that plays, is it Mia, the mom?
The mom?
Oh, I just could not get into it. She was not, I'm sorry, she's probably really awesome, but this one was terrible for me. Just terrible.
I don't buy for a second that she's pregnant. First of all.
No.
Obviously, she had not ever been pregnant at the time. Yeah, full of very bizarre choices. This ending really bummed me out too, because I was like, man, y'all should have jumped out that window with that doll. I don't feel like spoiler alert for a movie that came out in 2014, 10 years ago. The movie, like her friend who she met at a bookstore is like, oh, hey, I'll give Annabelle my soul. It's cool. Don't worry about it. Bye, guys. Woo. And like takes a dive out the window. And you're just like, who are you again?
Yeah.
What? Like, what? You're not.
I just met you 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they're taking bullets for me. Like it is crazy. It is a crazy turn of events where she's just like, it's all right. I have a lot of guilt pent up. Bye. Yeah, she just dives out this window, and you're like, you're just gonna let your friend take that one for you? Like this isn't even her problem. She was keeping you company. And suddenly it's like, whoo, we all need more friends like her. Like, do they like set up a memorial for her? Like, I want more to know like how they handled the aftermath of this movie, because like she needs a statue made in your honor. I don't think I have that many friends who'd be like, oh, you got a demonic doll that needs one soul. Adios, amigo. And they grab the doll and go. I have a lot of friends that would help me. I had a lot of friends who'd probably help me bury a body, but I don't think I have any friends who'll be like, yeah, I'll trade my soul for yours. It's yours, especially after we've met for 2 weeks. Get out of here. Get out of here.
You're so funny. It's so true, though. You're just sitting there like, huh, she just jumped out. Okay.
So random.
No convincing needed. She's just ready to go.
They didn't even try. It's like when I'm at a restaurant with my bosses and they're like, and like, it's like the check comes and everybody else is like getting their wallet out. And then your boss is like, I got it, guys. And you're like, I didn't even bring my wallet. I'm not arguing one bit.
It's so disappointing because this came out literally 1 year after the first Conjuring film, which was such a great film. Then it's like, oh, what's this going to be? Oh, everyone was so excited for him. Everyone's like, oh, wow.
Whoops.
It could have been so good too, because when they were in bed, sorry if this is a spoiler alert for sure, like where they're in bed, like the couple, and they pan over to the neighbor's house and they're just getting slaughtered by their daughter. Like this could have been so crazy. Like that scene itself was horrifying, but then it was just like fizzling out. Just, I don't know how they could have made that better.
Also, I want to say this about Annabelle. This is to all horror filmmakers. Please stop doing elevator scenes where they close the elevator closes, they think they escaped, it opens, and either like the demon's closer or they're in the same room. Because it does not scare me. It makes me laugh. Like there's a scene I think where she goes down and she's like trying to escape and she's in an elevator, goes ding, and she's like, ah, presses it again, ding, ah. Like, they did the same shit with that god awful horror movie that came out last year, Tarot. I don't know if anyone's seen that. Oh, that movie was so bad. They did the same thing with Ned from Spider-Man, where he was like trying to get away from this like tarot monster. ding, ding, and it's not scary. It's terrible. Please don't do that anymore, horror filmmakers.
So the guy who directed this, is a very prolific director of photography. He's in charge of the lighting and setting up the angles and the camera stuff. He did a bunch of Tales from the Crypt. He did The Mask. He did the original 1995 Mortal Kombat. Mwah. He did like just Joe Dirt, the Scorpion King.
You had me at Joe Dirt.
Yeah. Dead Silence, Piranha 3D, Insidious, The Conjuring, Insidious Chapter 2, and a bunch of Sleepy Hollow episodes. So he got his chance to direct something, and he I don't know when he got to direct this movie, if it's like right at the top, but he's directed a couple things. He did Butterfly Effect 2 and Annabelle. And Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Hell yeah, Goro.
Speaking of the elevator scene, we got a comment about it that James Wan actually directed it.
Oh, the best scene.
Elevators are one of those things that's like it's almost too it's like the mirror. Like if you see a mirror in a movie and like somebody like bends down to like wash their face, you're like something's gonna be in the mirror the second they pop up. It's awesome when it works, but it's like obviously you're about to do the mirror thing. Elevator, obviously they're going to be closer when the doors open. It's like a cliche that just you can't not do it because the opportunity's there. Of course I'm going to make the thing scary. And I think it's one of those things that like if you shot that scene and you didn't do it, Warner Brothers or the network would be like, this is a really good opportunity for a scare. I think we're letting people down if we don't take that opportunity. And you're like, yeah, but it's so cliche at this point. Just stepping over my point. All right, Izzy, I get the point. That if that's the best scene of the movie sucks. Sorry, Annabelle. How do we feel about the design of Annabelle? No, okay.
I don't like dolls. Sorry if my aunt watches this later. She used to gift us China dolls as kids, and I hated them. They were so scary, and they didn't even look as creepy as Annabelle does. I just feel like they did a little bit, like it's too creepy. It's too obvious. I mean, Raggedy Ann's a little cute, too cute.
I mean,
obviously.
if I see a horror movie about a haunted Raggedy Ann doll, I'm going to laugh. Like. Like I'm just gonna laugh. So I think it's one of those things where like, oh, let's do a creepy doll, and it's just kind of like, they did kind of stereotypical creepy doll, which I think the Annabelle design I think it's pretty cool for what it is. I think it's a little too on the nose, but I think with kind of their target demo, they got to be a little too on the nose.
And I grew up with Lady Elaine Fairchild. I know what creepy dolls look like. It's a Mr. Rogers reference for all you old heads like me.
I'm like, don't search it because
I was about to. I was like, let's pull this up, and then I was like, ugh. And for those somebody said it, they're like, he doesn't have his safe search on. I work on a zombie show. The stuff I have to Google, like everything's just blurred out. All my Google searches are just a big wall of blur, and I'm like, all right, okay. Burn victim, yeah, it's
your search history is crazy.
I literally have, if I have to type something, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to put me on a list. I'll type for movie research because that also might not return the immediate like horrifying thing. It might, like if I'm like, how do I build a bomb out of this for movie research, then you also get
Minecraft.
Yeah, then you get movie references that are also like, okay, thank you, because I'm not like actually trying to figure this stuff out. I do think they do with Annabelle in the newest Conjuring film is really cool.
Yeah,
I think the Annabelle design is so on the nose. Like it's like she's a creepy doll. Obviously that doll's haunted. Like I walk in the room and they like pick out the haunted doll. I'm like, is it the one with the evil eyebrows and the creepy scars on her face? And they're like, whoa, you might be psychic. Yeah, it's Annabelle's too on the nose. It's the same way I feel about sometimes when you deal with like Pennywise, like the new one, his makeup is evil, but in the original, it's just clown makeup. So it's like when he turns evil, the new one takes me is already tells me like if I see that clown, I'm like that's an evil clown.
Yes.
Let's get to the meat of the story. The Conjuring 2013. We've already said it's the best in the whole series. It really kicks everything off. We meet the Warrens. They go up and try and do an exorcism on this woman's house who is being plagued by the ghost of Bathsheba, which is an evil name, by the way, but she's a local legend. Based on fact, how much of the reality of the Conjuring universe have you guys dug into?
Little bit.
I've dug on like the Conjuring a little bit, just because it's so interesting and how much it freaks me out. I'm like, how much of this is real?
Yeah.
But those the Perrin family are still around, and some of them will not even touch it. Like they don't want to talk about it because she apparently still haunts them.
Yeah.
So
well,
creepy.
Here's the thing. They never did the exorcism. So the Warrens showed up and they're like, hey, she called the Warrens, the mother did. And the Warrens showed up and said, oh, we got to do an exorcism. We got to do this, and this. The father punched Ed Warren in the face and said, get the fuck off my land. And if I see you back here, I'm going to call the police. And so they never did anything. And the place is still haunted. And they wrote a book about it. So the movie has, let's say, a 40% factual aspect to it. There was a family. This legend of Bathsheba is real. This house has a lot of like creepy things attributed to it. That's all true. But the point where the movie like does an exorcism, saves the day, saves the kids, and they're on their way. None of that.
See, that's the thing you're going to learn about a lot of these Conjuring films is like a lot of it is really heavily fictionalized. And we were just talking before we went on air, which we'll get to it eventually. I'll like a lot of it was just basically they were like, yep, you guys are haunted, and then they dip out.
It's wild, and I feel bad because the woman who was dealing with this, Mama Perrone, I forgot her name, but the mother in the Conjuring movie, the real woman had issues that she wanted solved, and she went to these people for help, and her husband fought Ed Warren. It's like at the end of a lot of these movies, they'll play like real audio of Ed Warren and play real footage. They don't often show Ed because Patrick Wilson is like a Hollywood actor.
Way more attractive.
Whereas the real Ed Warren is built like me. He's a husky fellow, and he has a very heavy New York accent. He's like, the power of Christ compels you, and you're like, oh God, wow. And they probably, it's. I'm glad that they went with like a Hollywood version for the sake of the story, because Patrick Wilson's awesome and Vera Farmiga is awesome as actors, and they really bring a lot to it. And their fictionalized version, though, it's like, it's tough when you're doing something that isn't even. Ed Warren has passed away since, but it's like to fictionalize the events of something that you can read the book of or find out so soon. It's not even that old. It's always it's about as wild as Googling with your safe search
on a live stream.
On YouTube.
No less. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, if you look into it, it always comes down to what, like, if you believe in ghosts, the Warrens are interesting. If you don't, these people show up, take advantage of your family, go write a book about it, and then don't give you any residuals.
With how little they had to work with to make this movie, they really really did a stellar job of scaring people.
Yeah.
The first one's amazing, though. I absolutely, it is one of the best modern day horror films to come out in a long time, and I'm not mad that it spawned a million sequels. That's great.
Yeah. I think honestly, too, I think it's very important because, especially around the time it came out in 2013, and we talked about this era before, like we were like I would say 2009 was kind of the end of the remake 2000s remake craze, which we did a previous episode with Christopher Carlson, and the torture, we're on YouTube, torture corn era. So and then it was like right after it was the found footage craze, which I've said before is my least favorite era of horror, because it like, I'm not against found footage, but you have to have a reason to be using the found footage medium.
It got stale. Yeah, it was a gimmick.
It just because studios were like, oh, hey, we can make this horror movie. We can make it cheap. We can make it for under $1 million.
Yes.
Where
we can make the whole thing in a single elevator with some hidden cameras. Let's do it.
Where I think Conjuring came out kind of at the right time, when I think a lot of people were starting to get tired of these found footage horror films. And it's like, hey, guys, you can make a very compelling, well-acted story with very respected actors, and it could be a modest budget, and it can make money. And that kind of, to me, kind of was a turn of a new era for horror, because especially after that, like for me, especially for Conjuring 2, which we'll get to, like 2016, like everyone talked about the summer of 2016 for horror, because we had The Conjuring 2, we had Lights Out, we had Don't Breathe, The Shallows, all modestly budget horror films, not found footage, that all made a lot of money. So I think that kind of showed the studios like, hey, you don't have to be cheap and do a cop-out found footage to make a good horror film that makes money.
There was a handful that came out in 2013. Oculus, Mama, and is the Purge really 2013? Yeah, the Purge. The Purge
Really?
is still riding. The first Purge is still riding on that sort of a little bit on the torture porn wagon because of the nature of the home invader thing. Corn. I said corn. That's how I pronounced it. Sharknado apparently came out in 2013. So like, just looking at what else came out, we are really in that era of like you said, like trying to break out into something new. I mean, this is Blumhouse is really catching their stride at this point. And this movie was just a hit, and it worked. Mama is another one that, like, I like that movie a lot, but there's a lot of movies coming out right now that after the credits end, you're like, oh man, that was a good horror movie. And then you think about it for a second, you're like, wait a second. The second the cops show up, all of them are going to jail. Like Mama, they just announced a sequel. Mama, these people adopt 2 children, and their ghost mother follows them, and it ends with the ghost mother taking one of the twins away. And they're like, well, that's a happy ending, because she would have killed us all otherwise. And you're like, yeah, but
at least one of the kids made it.
Child Protective Services is showing up, be like, we gave you 2. We gave you 2. Where's the
Oh, yeah, fuck that kid. We got that one. One's right here.
But she's not the evil one. The evil one, she went back with her ghost mom. It's totally cool. Like,
you had to be there.
You're gonna need to call the Warrens for a defense, because this is it's pretty messed up. So then we get to what I thought was the funniest of this whole series, and it's Annabelle Comes Home 2019, which is literally the Cat in a Hat with ghosts, because it's like the Warrens are like, we're leaving, we're going to head out for the weekend, we're leaving our sad kid home alone with 2 teenage babysitters, and one of them is going to just go and touch all of our ghost shit and release a bunch of ghosts. And then the kids are going to solve this on their own, and then we're going to have a birthday party. And it is so stupid, but I loved it.
Yeah, this is the way I describe it. So Annabelle Come Home is basically the Conjuring Kids Bop version. So, Like I wasn't a big fan of it, but the thing is, the way I looked at it is, for someone who is a parent, that wants to get their children kind of started in horror movies, like, okay, The Conjuring's a good one, but say it's like an 11 or 12-year-old, okay, maybe The Conjuring might be a little too intense for them at that age. Annabelle Comes Home might be like, okay, this is kind of a starting point, because I mean, I know it's rated R, but like, to me, it's kind of like teen friendly. It's not as intense. Like, it has a decent enough story where you could follow it. You get enough of that Conjuring kind of seasoning to where, like, okay, I can kind of dig this a little bit.
I just like that they threw every ghost at the wall they possibly could.
Yeah.
They introduced
Oh yeah.
the ferryman who's got coins in his eyes, creepy. They introduced this bride who wears a dress that makes you kill people, super creepy. Annabelle is of course causing problems, falling out of her chair and stuff. And like, there's just all sorts of fun critters and creepy crawlies going on. And I just, the more I was just like, if Dr. Seuss wrote this in a poem in some sort of like iambic pentameter, I would have been thrilled. Like I just expected the fish to start talking, like, your mother's not home. Your mother's not home. Tell this cat to go away. It's so good.
The creepiest scene, in my opinion, in that movie is when Judy like looks under the covers and there's Annabelle and like the real girl, and then she just comes right at her. Probably the scariest scene in the whole movie. It's just you know she's there, but then you see the actual girl. Oh my god, it's just terrifying. That's
Terrifying.
Probably
Looking
probably
under the
what I
covers.
wouldn't show my daughter. I'll just skip that, but I don't want her in my bed.
Anytime somebody has to look under the covers in a horror movie, I think The Ring or The Grudge, one of those did that really, really well, where somebody's like looking under the covers and the little boy's in there. He's like,
Oh yes.
yeah, The Grudge. Yeah. The Grudge had the little boy in it. The little boy that meows. Horrifying. The movie was arguably not great, but there's something about how preposterous the setup was. It's like, yeah, this is what happens when the Warrens leave their kids home alone. Also, who's leaving anyone home alone with a basement full of cursed items? God, parents of the year here. They crushed it, and it just made me laugh. The dumber it got, the more I was enjoying it, and I just had a great time with it. And then at the end, the little girl who has no friends, like, suddenly by defeating evil, all like these kids show up for her birthday party, and I'm like, are they ghosts? Seriously, it was like, are any of these kids real? Because we haven't seen them in the movie. Are they just like, are they ghost kids who showed up? Yeah,
That's a good question, actually.
This one cracked me up. I did not watch La Lorena, which is the next one, and that came out in 2019. Did you watch it, Jenna?
I did, and it was okay. Like, I've heard of this like folklore tale from Mexico before, and it is creepy. Like, but did it need its own movie? It was okay. I really enjoy like the actor that plays Raphael. He's also Tuco in Breaking Bad, so it was really hard for me to differentiate him because he plays such a crazy person. But even in that movie, it was kind of comical. Like, he was trying to be serious, but it wasn't. It was a good movie, but I could have skipped it. But I needed to see why. I like just recently watched it, but I'm like, how does this tie in? And it's the Father Perez ends up being in the movie towards the end. So yeah,
just randomly, the father, the priest from Annabelle shows up. I'm trying to find out where did I find Linda Cardellini. I like Linda Cardellini.
She's
a lot.
Great.
She's the mom in this, but yeah, Raymond Cruz. You just like, he is one of those characters that every time I've seen him, he's played such a different type of character that when I see him not doing that, like, is it a joke? Like, is he about to break into the other character? Like, at any moment, is he just gonna be like, yeah, man, and like just like go full coke crazed? and then he never does, and you're like, oh, I guess it wasn't a joke. He was actually that character. All right, I mean, good job, man, but I didn't believe it because I've seen you do the one thing the whole time. He actually is a great actor. He's in Gremlins 2. He is a package delivery man who's
What?
like whistling a song, and he walks in, and Billy goes, "Where'd you hear that song?" And he goes, "Isn't it that Sting song?" He's like, "It's not a Sting song. Where'd you hear it?" He's like, "Oh, somebody was whistling it in the genetic research lab that's in your building." And he's like, "Oh man," and that's how he knows that Gizmo is around.
Oh wait, I'll have to rewatch that. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. He is young and just very skinny. Like he got a lot bigger for like Training Day and Breaking Bad. It's yes, La La Reina isn't actually a Warren case. They're just trying to tie it into the universe because they're like, we're kind of running, the barrel's running dry. What other famous folklore can we sink our little Warner Brother hooks into? Which is too bad because I don't think you need to make everyone a Warren case. La La Reina is a very interesting story, and I think it deserves a good movie. This wasn't it, though. From what I hear, I didn't see it.
Ugh.
I didn't either.
Oh, you didn't watch it? I'm the only one who watched it.
You're the only one who watched La La Reina. Yeah.
Don't waste your
I've-
time then, I guess.
I've had so many people like tell me, even like Skylar, who was our guest, one of our guests last week. We were having a conversation a couple weeks ago about the Conjuring films, and Skylar was like, "Yeah, it's not very good. Like, I wouldn't waste your time." Like,
It has the potential to be good. I feel like the CGI of the La La Reina is not great.
So when this movie came out, there's a whole like ending scene that takes place at like a raging, I don't know if it's like a dam or something, or like people hanging over this precipice, and like a lot of, even The Nun too. There were a lot of movies. I wasn't working on them, but I was working at the studio that was working on them. And you're like, wait, you have to rebuild the entire background. They're like, yeah, they said it's not exciting enough. So like in The Nun too, like all the broken barrels and stuff, none of that was there. They had to add all that later. They basically like reinvented how the ending was. La La Reina was another one of those, like there's a whole like cliffhanger sequence where people are like falling into raging water, and they like had to build all that from scratch because what they filmed was not cool enough. And you're like, huh, seems like with a little planning, you could have just done better. And they're like, yeah, we don't want to do that. We want to spend all that money now. And you're like, all right, fine. Conjuring 2 comes out 2016, and I fell asleep watching it the first time in the movie theater. I feel so bad. It's also, but watching it again for this, it's really confusing. It starts out awesome though, because we get the Warrens' most famous case, which is also a really famous horror movie, the Amityville Horror. Awesome setup, really awesome. But then Lorraine sees the nun, and you're like, wait, did the nun cause Amityville? And they're like, we're not going to tell you. I mean, we're not saying she didn't, but like, we're not attributing it to her either. And you're like, you're confusing me, movie. And they're like, don't worry about it. Let's go to London. And they go to London, and there's a creepy man in a chair who's the main story. And then there's a crooked man who they're like, don't you want to see a movie with this guy? And you're like, I don't know. Are you going to make one? They're like, probably not. You're like, oh, all right,
well,
fine.
They were like, yeah, we're going to make it. Then a few years later down the road, nah, we're not doing that.
Apparently the crooked man didn't land the way they wanted him to. He does look like a cartoon, like a very creepy cartoon character from like, I don't know, an HR Puffin stuff type crap. But I
mean, though, NECA made an action figure of him
because he's creepy as hell.
NECA made an action figure. Go all out. Just go ahead and make a movie. You got the merch right there.
Yeah.
Funko made a Funko Pop of him. Just go ahead and make the damn movie.
No way.
That's funny. Yeah. I didn't know that. He's kind of, I think the other problem is he reminds me of Mushmouth from Fat Albert, the way he has like a pink hat where his eyes are coming through above the brim of the hat. He's like a posh British version of Mushmouth. Yeah. I will not. I will not attempt a impression of that. But it was. They added too much. They threw everything at the wall. The stuff that they do in it works really well. The scares are pretty solid. The creepy stuff with the family and the kids, super good. I love the Amityville horror stuff, but they're like, then there's the nun and there's a cook man, the guy in the chair, and the Amityville horror ghost, and I felt like it was too much. How do you feel about Jenna? What's your take on Conjuring #2?
Number two wasn't. Me and Chase disagree on this one. I think
Yeah, we had
he
to
likes.
talk about this last
Yeah,
night.
I'm like I don't love it, and I don't know if it's because the old man just is not scary enough
Hmm.
for me. Like he's creepy, I guess, but when maybe if it would hit different if it possessed a little boy and not a little girl. I feel like the voice is a little distorted for me and not as believable. But and yeah, it was a little confusing in my opinion too. And there was at one point in that movie where um they're investigating, like Ed and Lorraine are investigating, and there's a point where she's wrecking, like the spirits or demons
Oh,
wrecking the kitchen,
Yeah.
and it comes out they're like, well, she did it, like we watched her do it, and it wasn't anything, she just did it herself, and you're like, what's happening? But then it gets creepy because like they said, or the demon said, like, you have to do this or we're gonna kill you, you and your family. And you're like,
you have to
oh,
get
okay.
you have to
that
get
that
them
was
out of
good.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's I think that's when the turning point for me was that
Oh
movie got a
wow.
little bit better from then on. But
So yeah,
Yeah.
that guy is just
it
that
just
lanky. Just to bring it up.
wow.
As Izzy
Wow.
said, he's like the crooked man is just a really tall and lanky guy. Fun
I didn't
fact,
know that was a real person playing
also
that.
played Mama in the Mama movie I just
No
mentioned.
way.
So funny.
Wow. I thought
But
that was all like computer
I would have
generated.
I
I would
thought
have
so
bet
too.
money that it was all computer animated. That's amazing.
Wow.
That's one thing I will give the Conjuring films. If you look at a lot of the behind the scenes videos, they try to do as much practically as possible. And I respect the hell. I mean, it might look a little CGI, but I respect the hell out of that. But yeah, Conjuring 2, I feel like it's a lot slower paced and kind of drags compared to the first Conjuring film. But I think, and they do try to throw way too much. Like Aaron said, it's like, oh, what about this Crooked Man? Oh, this old dude. Oh, Amityville. Oh, none. Like, and it's, I think, but once you kind of just follow more the story of Ed and Lorraine going to England and helping out this family, I think that's where the film really shines. And that's the part I really enjoy the most.
Change of scenery. Yeah.
Yeah, break it up. Why not? Um it it is a weird one though, because yeah, they were really like, oh man, I think this is when they're like, we're gonna do this huge universe and we got to remind people of all the stuff we're gonna throw at them. And I think when this came out, they were like just coming up with this idea that we're going to do the Nun movies and we're going to do Annabelle movies and we're going to do, like, this is when they were trying to set that off. And I think much like the first what is it, Justice League movie, it's like they threw way too much into it all at once and really tried to, yeah, The Conjuring 2 is the Justice League movie of horror.
Just significantly better.
Yeah.
Oh my God, poor Justice League movie. I mean, I don't feel bad for him. Batman's still a billionaire.
The Snyder Cut's pretty good though. I'll give them that.
I didn't even see it because of, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, but at least it wasn't bad enough to have it to like tank it, because we did get a sequel a few years later. Conjuring Devil Made Me Do It. I watched this last night, 2021. They definitely stripped everything out of this. This has no mention of Annabelle, no nuns. This is just the Warrens versus a Satanist, based on a true story. I'll get to that in a second. How did you like Devil Made Me Do It?
Jenna, you and me had a
Oh.
talk about this last night.
Yeah, we did.
All right. Yeah, Jenna, let's hear it.
I watched it when it first came out and I was not a fan. Like I just thought it was super boring, and I think also maybe now that you mention it, like it did strip everything out from previous movies. So I'm like, what does this have to do with it really? But I rewatched it a few weeks ago with my husband, and I was like, I liked this movie. It
Mhm.
really really hit the mark for me.
Second
It,
second time around, gotcha.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the waterbed scene was really creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you
that was
ever been on one? Like
yeah,
to
yeah.
think about that happening?
The waterbed scene was great. There were a lot of great elements to it, and it is creepy. It just depends on like if you're like, no, I like it when they tease about all the other demons that they fought and all the other stuff. But this just felt like a serialized installment. Like, hey, here's just them on the road doing their thing. This is a slice of life without alluding to a bigger picture, which I don't mind.
Yeah.
It is also probably the most, and this is saying a lot for this franchise, the most faithful to the true events that happened. Over half this movie is completely fake. I'll tell it in a second. Chase, how do you feel about it?
Yeah. As I said, me and Jenna were talking about this last night, and it exactly the same. I felt exactly the same way. So I saw this when it first came out in 2021. It was a part of that pandemic Warner Brothers thing they were doing, like, oh, watching in theaters or on HBO Max same day. So I watched it on HBO Max, and I felt the same way when I first saw it in 2021. I was like, this is kind of boring. Like, I don't know if it was because like the other Conjuring films, they're just throwing everything up the wall, introducing so many characters, just so much crazy stuff happening. And this is very much a scaled back, kind of more grounded Conjuring film. And at the time I thought like it was boring. So I was still my memory was a bit hazy from it. So I watched it early last night. And yeah, honestly, now this is probably among one of my favorites in the
Really?
franchise. I actually now appreciate it now that it's more grounded and kind of tells more of a straightforward, more focused tunnel vision story, as opposed to like you said, Aaron, with Conjuring 2, like, what about this guy? What about this ghost? What about this demon? It's basically, here's what happened. Boy gets possessed, young man gets possessed by a demon. He kills his landlord, and it just kind of, and now now they got to figure out what caused him to be possessed. What's controlling this demon? Like, what's the motivation of this person, that the Satanist controlling this demon? Where do we find the Satanist? And I think honestly, that's why I appreciate it now more, just because of that real grounded element to it.
I thought when they first set up the movie, as you said, this there's a little boy who's possessed. The Warrens are there overseeing the exorcism, and this is documented truth. There's video of this, there's audio of this. They play it at the end of the movie. During the exorcism, the boyfriend of the older sister taunts the demon, says, "You leave him alone, take me, take me." This is documented. This really happened, according to, the boy's level of possession in the movie is out of control. He's twisting around, he's flipping around. In reality, he's just talking in a weird voice and being like, "I hate you, mommy." Ah, that's about it. You know, the Warrens claim that this young man is now possessed, and when he later murders his landlord, it was because of demonic possession. In the movie, I was like, oh man, is this going to become a John Grisham book where now we got to like solve the crime? How are they going to build a legal defense to support this? And the Warrens are like, we're not lawyers. We're going to go hunt Satanists. Bye. And they go on this sweet side quest where they solve another murder in a different town while helping with this court case. And you're like, cool. It's some cool scenes. There's like a really creepy scene in a morgue that I was like, I'm freaked out. It's good.
Ugh.
Yeah, creepy. Oh, she's touching the corpse hand, and it's all ooey gooey and wet, and then the other like bloated corpse like chases it around. I was like, this is good. That's good stuff. They meet a creepy priest who has a basement full of creepy satanic artifacts. And they're trying to figure this all out, all while being psychically attacked by this evil Satanist. And you're like, all right, crazy. Spoiler alert. They come back full circle, and the priest's like, by the way, I had a daughter, didn't see that coming. She's way into this Satanist crap. I should have mentioned something. And they're like, what?
It
dude?
was not just a phase, Dad.
Yeah, right. Yeah. My daughter's a little goth. And by I say a little goth, she's been building skull totems in the basement, which is a labyrinthian church beneath beneath the ground. And you're like, that's probably should have led with that, dude, especially when we were like, hey, have you seen this thing? And he wasn't immediately like, oh, my daughter makes those for arts and crafts. They're sweet, aren't they? And you're like, we're finding them under murder victims. And they go down, they have these sweet hallucinations. There's a really great hallucination moment where Lorraine is like seeing mirrors of herself. Like she's running down a hallway and she sees herself running down the hallway in front. And when she turns around, it's like in a infinity mirror. Just, it's a really good effect. Really well done. Ed thinks he's seeing stuff. He smashes stuff up with a hammer. They smash the temple, the altar of the Satanist, and then the demon kills her. And it's good. It's good, gnarly stuff. And then the boyfriend is released from this. The whole movie, his girlfriend, who is the older sister of the little boy who was possessed at the beginning, she's like running around trying to help and trying to figure this out. This is one of those great cases of where the fuck are your parents? I cannot get through. I'm like, I don't know if it's because the actress wasn't old enough in my mind, but the whole time I'm like, what parent wouldn't bring you to the prison themselves? If you're going to visit your murdering boyfriend in prison, I don't think my parents would let me go by myself, even if I was 18. They'd be like, "Nah, we're coming." Like, yeah, we got to be there. Especially, she brings her little brother at one point, and like her mom and dad didn't show. They're like, "We couldn't afford those actors anymore. They're not even famous. We couldn't afford them. They're out. We're done." Like, that was it. It's crazy.
Sure, just bring your little child brother to go visit your boyfriend accused of murder.
Murder.
Yeah.
Who both are claiming possession, right? Here's the reality of this case. The Warrens showed up to a little boy. They oversaw a exorcism. The boyfriend did taunt the demon, and it kind of dissipated. A few days later, the boyfriend, the girlfriend, and a landlord and a 12-year-old girl were drinking, smoking dope, and partying at their house. And the landlord got like crazy, and he started just acting violent, and he grabbed the girlfriend and locked them in a room. And the boyfriend goes in and stabs the shit out of him. This is the reality of the case. He gets arrested for murder, and the Warrens go, you should. They go to his lawyer and they go, we think we can help you build a case for not guilty by way of demonic possession. And the lawyer goes, all right, but you're going to help me out here. And they said, yeah, we got you. And so the lawyer goes into court and says, Your Honor, we plead not guilty by way of demonic possession. And the judge said, get the fuck out of here. And he got sentenced to 10 years in prison and only served 5. They didn't even take the defense. They were like, nah, no way. We're not that. We're not arguing that. Get out of here. And the movie continues from that point. And at the end, he still gets convicted of aggravated manslaughter and only serves 5 years. But like all the stuff that the Warrens do in the back half of the movie to try and prove that this kid was demonically possessed never happened. The judge was like, no. And they're like, all right, bye.
Just imagine going to the court and testifying that, yes, Your Honor, we went to an underground dungeon. We fought a Satanist who who a demon that looks exactly like her dragged her to hell with her because she needed a soul.
Right? In which case the judge goes, let me get this straight. You went to this priest's house and now he's dead and his daughter's dead and you were the last people who saw them alive? All right. We need you to not leave the country. If you think you're going to go to London, don't.
Oh, there we go.
Jen's back.
Jen's back.
Well, we're going way over, so let's hit this last one and wrap it up. Last Rites. I haven't been to the movie theaters in a long time. I think you two went and saw it at movie theaters. What'd you guys think? How was the last one? Does it wrap up the franchise? Go.
I lost my volume. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear
you're
you.
good. Yep.
I can't hear you. Sorry, give me a sec.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Happened.
All right. How do we do this? We're going to figure it out.
So,
Chase, go.
yeah. So I'm going to go as spoilers free as possible. I enjoyed it. Do I think it's like the best one out of the bunch? No, not by a long shot. But I mean, overall, it's entertaining. It's extremely well acted. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are amazing per usual. And I feel like it wraps up the Warren story very nicely where, it doesn't open up for the possibility of a billion more sequels with them. It kind of just finishes their story and wraps up the 12-year timeline.
Oh, Jen, are you back?
I'm back. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
I got a phone call and it just glitched out everything. So
That's how it rolls. Last Rites. What'd you think?
I didn't mind it. I think I need to rewatch it. And there was a lot going on. And it's a spoiler alert.
Keep it relatively spoiler free since it's such a fresh movie.
I do have some questions about like the main gift that this girl was given. So I'm just like, what's that all about? Yeah, it was different. It wasn't what I was expecting. I feel like there was a lot of hype over this is the case that Ed and Lorraine retired on, and I was expecting more, I guess.
That's fair
Without
enough.
being spoiled,
Yeah.
I guess. But in the very end scene, I don't know if you guys saw, I thought it was really cool that it was just briefly shown the mom from the first Conjuring that played the mom. She was in the audience for the ceremony. I thought that was really cool. Did you see that?
There was a lot of people from the previous films that were in it that had cameos. James Wan has a cameo in it, which might want to do. It's not a big spoiler, but think we could do a little spoiler warning banner. Okay, it's funny because like the film's set in the 80s, and then James Wan sticks out like a sore thumb because he looks like the most modern man in an 80s setting. The most 2020s looking man in a 1980s setting.
That's so funny. I need to see it. I'll see it probably when it comes out on DVD. And yeah, I feel like now that I've seen them all, I will also have to watch La Llorona. Sorry.
It's not a must. I think it's okay. It's okay. I would watch it if you're like, what should I watch? That's the movie. Just something on in the background.
Yeah, the Warrens never actually retired because Ed Warren got himself into some trouble. And we're not going to talk about it here, but yeah, you can look that up on your own. And but basically they had to pull back because also as science got better, the litmus tests for like, are you full of shit or not, got better. And here's the thing I'll say about exorcisms and a lot of things like this. Something like that helps the people who believe that they need that. But we have yet to see a scientific version of this that actually proves the existence of another side or demonic possession. But it is something that is so involved in mythology and religion that I think they kind of started pulling back because of, well, legal trouble, and
Science.
I don't think you can go up against science and not look kind of silly sometimes. So, but again, that's not to say it's not true. It's just not true in the face of what you're testing for. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff, guys. We need to do some plugs. We need to do some blood coin. Jenna, what do you got going on? Obviously, plug the Craft Witch. Tell people where they can buy awesome shirts like Chase is wearing.
Yes. I've got lots available on my website, www.thecraftwitch.ca. It's a little hairy right now shipping to the States, so just send me a message if you guys are interested. Those watching, I'll see what I can do. But other than that, on Instagram, you can find me at the Craft Witch YEG. And actually, today I'm headed to the big city to do a big wholesale drop off to Dedmonton Haunted House. It's a huge warehouse that they have, like, it's almost like a mini Halloween Horror Nights. They've got 3 different houses in this big warehouse, and they've got actors that come around and scare you, and you go after all the houses, you go through a store and you'll find all my my clothing. So very excited to drop
Nice.
that.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
So we got to give away some blood coin as usual. I think this one's pretty obvious. The Conjuring. So check that out. If you go to Discord, open up a ticket, type in The Conjuring, and check out all the Block of Horror stuff. It's all on all the social media at Block of Horror. We're coming into October, guys, which means Blocktoberfest is coming up. We have some big announcements about that. I didn't talk to Mike this morning, so I don't know if producer Mike wants me to drop any of those. So we're going to hold off till next week to make the big announcements. But we have some really, really cool stuff. We have some sponsors. We have some amazing events. And as usual, the film festival at Blocktoberfest. It's going to be great. So super fun stuff there. Chase, plugs. What do you got going on?
First of all, Jenna, thank you so much for coming back. It's always a pleasure having you.
Sorry, Jenna, you have feedback, so I'm muting. I'm muting the feedback a little bit. I'll let you.
But yeah, thank you again, Jenna. And of course, see me here every Saturday with you, Aaron, on Half Hour Horror. Follow me on Instagram, Blue Sky, X, and Letterbox at Oh Hey It's Chase, TikTok Oh Hey It's Chase _. And yeah, follow all things Block of Horror. Go see The Conjuring Last Rites in theaters if you can. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, check out movies in theaters, guys. Go support horror movies because that's how we keep getting good stuff. Independent horror is killing it right now, so please go see a horror movie in the theater.
Conjuring's making a ton of money, like.
Yeah, they'll never let that die. They said this is the end of phase 1, and I'm like, well, what's the phase 1? Come on, how many you got? It really is the MCU of the horror world. Yeah, it's been great. You can follow me, obviously, here, Block of Horror, and then I'm on Instagram, I'm McLean Abel. My other show, the Launchpad Podcast, we've been doing alien breakdowns and talking about Alien Earth, which we've been having a lot of fun with. So super good. Jenna, we got to have you come back sometime soon. Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you again for having me. It's always fun to watch you guys every Saturday, but even better when I'm on here too. So thank you for inviting me.
Appreciate you. Have a great weekend, guys. Stay safe. Have fun. Woo!